Hello everybody, my name is Katie and welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I have the second part of Zoey's costume. So today I am doing the outfit. I've already done the daggers. If you want to see that, you can click on the corner. But for her outfit, I went thrifting in order to find these clothes, and I found these black cargos that were perfect, and they had even like the jogger style ends too, which was perfect. They were just a little bit big on the waist, but I literally could not pass up that find. But I also used paint that I got from Michael's, and then the fabric glue that I also used for the daggers, and same thing with the string as well. And then I also got some paintbrushes since I didn't have any here with me in Florida. So to go ahead and get started, I'm gonna flip these over to the back because the back seemed a lot easier to tackle since there were a lot more reference photos of the back of the pants. And so I started off with a pencil, and then I realized that didn't really work that well, so I just freehanded it. But you can kind of see all the lines that I am doing here with the paint. It's kind of hard for me to verbally explain it. I think it's just better if you watch it. So I'll go ahead and just continue to let that play. Once I had my lines outlined on the top portion, I went ahead and colored in that middle portion there with yellow. It took 3 coats in order to get the black to not show through, so it took a lot. And then I moved down the pants, drew those lines, and then you will see that I am also coloring in other portions of the legs there, and I am doing 3 coats of that as well. Unfortunately, I spilled a little bit on my pants. No! But it's fine, I made do, and I decided to add a 3rd set of lines to mask it since it actually fell perfectly in that spot, so thank goodness for that. So now in order to make, I don't know what it's actually called, but the little string piece off of the pants, I went ahead and did the exact same thing I did for the daggers. I explained it in there. So essentially I'm braiding the string, and then I'm almost tying a knot type thing, and then I kind of form it into to have 4 clovers essentially. And then I took my fabric glue and I just glue it all in the middle there. It's my makeshift knot. But then I went back to the pants while I waited for that to dry, drew some more lines, painted some more. I don't really know what to explain with that, but you can kind of watch it, the process and kind of how I modified it throughout. And then when I shook my paint out, big mistake, I accidentally splattered on the pants again. No! So I just made the lines a little bit bigger to cover that up, and it actually worked. And then I kind of rotated the pants so that I could continue those lines onto the back, if that makes any sort of sense at all. So it's like a continuous pattern throughout the pants. But then continuing back on the front, but the top portion, I'm really just outlining the stitching here. That's what I just decided to do, and I thought was kind of easiest, and I was almost out of paint at this point as well, so luckily I made it through with all the paint, and that's it for that. So I'm back here at the knot, and then I'm cutting a bunch of strings and tying them onto that knot in order to get the strings that dangle down, cut it to be the same length as the dagger, and then set that aside. Now I'm working on the shirt. I got both of these items from the thrift. The tank, it was the perfect color and it fits just perfectly. And then I saw this belt and I was like, oh my gosh, I can reuse this elastic. It's gonna be perfect. I cut off the shoulder pieces of the tank, and then I cut off the elastic from the belt. I kind of measured the middle of the belt, cut that through, and then glued the edges with my fraying glue to make sure that it doesn't fray. And then I took gray paint and I matched the design as best as I could that's on her top band there. I measured the shirt, realized I needed more, and so I added some more. But it worked out, and then went back to the pants and tied on the knot once everything was finally dried, put some fabric glue on that to make sure it stays sealed, and then went back to the tank, cut some more off, put some fabric fraying glue on it, glued on the black elastic strap, measured the middle of the tank so that I could draw the part of the like zipper, essentially, I guess. And then I drew the flowers, the pretty flowers. I did my best. You can see my process here. I had to paint over them a couple of times in order to get them to stop showing the teal from underneath. But then I let them dry and I outlined them in a white pen and then again in Sharpie to get kind of like that look that she had on her shirt as well. And then finally, I took my leftover piece of elastic to make like the neck piece essentially, glued that together, and then glued that to the top. And that is it. It took a very long time, and I had like 8 hours of footage to sift through. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below because I post videos every single Sunday, and I hope to see you back again next week. Bye.